9 minutes. You're very aware. Now we are bringing in a lot more energy into that. So most of the loans sooner will be going through in principle approval in this manner and then getting followed up further. Then foreign branches are rationalized. Adherence to risk-based pricing is also happening as opposed to the ad hoc pricing mechanism which existed earlier. Then retail and MSME LMS are also implemented. LMS meaning loan management systems are implemented. Quickly again, to avoid further Nirav Modi kind of situation, SWIFT messages are linked to the CBS, the core banking system. IT-based centralized processing centers and verticals are also started. Then MSME bills discounting because of being on threads is introduced. Even the last Friday, I gave one more step further on that, linking that with the GSTN also, so that nowhere will bill discounting for the MSMEs will become a problem. So with all these linkages, they should be able to discount it with greater sense of ease. Then selection at arm's length through bank board bureau. So no selections are going to be politically interfered with. It will happen professionally. Then the MDs of banks selection from market for large PSPs and wider pool of other PSPs. So you're not limiting the choice of who can be running the bank as a managing director. From a limited pool of people, you're opening it up for the market. Whoever wishes to come to that position will now be able to give their services because they have the domain expertise. The non-executive chairman is being introduced. Earlier, only the State Bank of India had it. Now all banks shall have it. So from all this, what is the gain that we've seen and what is it that we can put on record? We just want to show that loan recovery record levels have been reached. If in financial year 18, 77,000 odd amount was collected, 77,000 crores, now it's crossed 1,21,000 crores. That's about record recovery levels. Then the gross NPAs, I want particular attention to be drawn of the media for this. Gross NPAs have come down. So in December 2018, if you had 8.65 lakh crores, now the asset quality has improved, NPAs have come down, and the level at which they are today is only 7.90 lakh crores. The next is the provisional coverage ratio. Provisional coverage ratio. You can see in the chart which is given, the highest in the last 7 years has happened, 75.3%. This is already existing under the NPA. Complementary is provided for, right? So highest level is being provided for by 75.3%. One particular thing I like to draw your attention on the gross NPAs is the figures come down from 8.65 lakh crores to 7.90 crores. I make it a point to repeat this because in the recent past I had seen reports which were misleading. I hope this picture clarifies the actuals for you. Enhanced profitability, again very important. Of a total 18 public sector banks, 6 public sector banks alone had enhanced profitability when we were talking about it in the fourth quarter of year ending 19. Whereas now, when we are talking about the first quarter of the financial year ending 20, we are talking about 14 public sector banks in profit, as against 2 in the financial year of 18. So of the 18 public sector banks, 14 are in profit earning situation. I also want to report on what has happened and what has developed post the consolidation of Bank of Baroda Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank together. So what's the impact of that? What have we gained out of it? I just want to put that before you. We've actually had wide-ranging benefits. Wider offerings and enhanced customization has happened. Operations rationalized much more than before. Verticalization initiated. Very important. Just no retrenchment of any staff. Very important again. Admin staffs have been redeployed for business, which means the core function of the business improves, and best practices were replicated everywhere. And when I say this, and I insist saying this, because if there was one feature which was very good in one of the three banks as regards human relation management, that was copied for the rest of them also. Similarly, when all of them came back together, every best practice which prevailed in this bank or that bank or the third bank were all replicated for everybody's benefit. So best practices of each bank has been absorbed for the collective gain. So that's very important there. So significantly in terms of numbers, if you want to say, the CASA growth has been robust post the merger. 6.9% has been increased, and when CASA grows, it's better for the bank because they have more liquidity and they have better credit availability for themselves. So the amount in crores is given there, 2,87,000 crores in June 2019. So this consolidation of Bank of Baroda, Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank actually has resulted in good outcomes. The next is strong retail loan growth. 20.5% increase in retail loan. Between 2018 June till June 19, there is a 20.5% growth. Today, the retail loan growth is 1,12,000 crores. And that is a significant increase from where it was earlier for the scheduled commercial banks. Moving over to the next one, the profitability has enhanced. Now, in quarter 4 of 19, year ending 19, they were in the negative of 7,113. Today, they moved positive. They are at plus 710 in the first quarter end of this financial year. So profitability has also enhanced. What has happened in terms of the potential which got unlocked? As a result of the merger, there's a very clear indication that they're poised for rapid growth and they can raise greater things in the market, and high profit trajectory can be seen whether it is loan growth, whether it is CASA growth, or whether it is in the profitability. End of the day, what is the market thinking about it? You have at least 38 market analysts who have come on to have one unanimous view that the market capitalization post this merger is expected to touch 51,000 by the time it is August 2020, from where it was 35,000 crores. So April 19 to 2020, within 1 year, that's a kind of improvement and outcome which has happened of the first merger that which took place, Bank of Baroda and so on. So having done 2 rounds of consolidation, along with sustained thrust on recognition, recapitalization, resolution, process reform and so on, what is it that we want to do for the next? I've already said the target is $5 trillion economy that we want to reach, a robust banking system that we want, and for which the steps that we want to take is what we want to reveal today before you. So we are trying to build the next gen banks. So unlocking the potential through consolidation. We are going to be talking a lot about consolidation. Big banks with enhanced capacity to increase credit. Big economy, you need banks which can sustain that kind of a growth potential. And the trajectory has to be maintained from the point of view of the banking facility that we can provide for the people of India. Banks with strong national presence and global reach is what we want. Operational efficiencies gains to reduce cost of lending. So the scaling up will only allow them to have a lot more resources, and therefore the lending costs can come down. And therefore, the blueprint that we're coming up with is going to help us towards building a $5 trillion economy. Enhanced risk appetite they can have. Thrust on next-gen technology for banking. Technology is an important feature. You'll notice that further we talk about, we've given a lot of mind application for ensuring that the fintech that they operate with are all going to be such that no customer disruptions will happen and enough attention will be taken towards bank and its consolidation. Wider offerings with enhanced customization and better ability to raise resources from the market. So we very quickly give you a complete picture of what kind of consolidation we are going to be doing. The first one, before I start, the large capacity of one bank, the technology-driven capacity of another, and the strong deposit franchise the third has, are all being brought together. So Punjab National Bank, Oriental Bank of Commerce, and United Bank will be brought together, and they shall form the second largest public sector bank with business of 17.95 lakh crores, which is at least approximately 1.5 times that of Punjab National Bank. So that will be the first one that we're talking about. The second largest branch network that is available in India will be of theirs, with 11,437 branches. So the first one that we are announcing is Punjab National Bank, Oriental Bank of Commerce, and United Bank. Three together. What will this give us? A high CASA and lending capacity combined in consolidated bank. Large cost reduction potential due to network overlaps. Cost saving and income opportunities for the joint ventures and subsidiaries. Most important, the point that I said earlier, we have taken clear care that the platform that they use are compatible. In merging or in bringing together the three banks that we brought down here, we made sure that the technology which is used in this Bank 1, Bank 2 and Bank 3 are compatible, and all the three banks can enable a quick realization of gains without customer disruption, without any disruption to the service that they have to lend. We go to this most important table. The indicators that I would draw your attention to are the CET1 ratio, the CRAR, which is the capital reserve ratio, and also to the net NPA ratio, the three above the category of employees, which is very important for you to notice. And all the three are very critical indicators to tell you that this consolidation in this particular case is absolutely healthy. And we've kept all the Basel norms, RBI's guidelines and the Basel norms in mind, even as we have put these numbers together for you. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer it later. I don't want to labor on each one of them, but I want to completely give you the confidence that we've applied our mind on the Reserve Bank of India guidelines and also on the Basel norms, which will have to tell us what these numbers ideally should be. We've kept that in mind. I can go further to explain that a bit later. Should we now move to the second? The second which we are consolidating are both banks coming from the south. Canara Bank with Syndicate Bank. They will be the fourth largest PSB with business of 15.20 lakh crores, which means approximately 1.5 times more than the current size of the Canara Bank itself. Third largest branch network in India, they will hold, with 10,342 branches. Large cost reduction potential exists due to the network overlaps. Similar culture to enable smooth consolidation because they come from the same region. Cost saving and income opportunities for JVs and subsidiaries, and therefore immediate, without disruption, continuation of service for all customers. Again, mind application on the point that they both come under similar compatible financial technology that they use. So both are able to quickly realize the gains. Now the indicators which you will be interested in, again, something which I would want your attention to be drawn on: CET1 ratio, net NPA ratio, and also the capital requirement, adequacy requirement ratio, all of which are given here and absolutely tick marked from the point of view of Basel norm and also from Reserve Bank of India guidelines. All three meet more than the ideal situation. We go over to the third one. Union Bank of India with Andhra Bank and Corporation Bank. This shall now become the fifth largest public sector bank with business of 14.59 lakh crores, approximately 2 times the size of Union Bank of India. Fourth largest bank in terms of network of branches, with about 9,609 branches. And their business will now become twice to about 4.5 times existing bank business. Large cost reduction is possible because of, again, network overlaps, which we can rationalize, cost saving and income opportunities for JVs and subsidiaries again. Again, consideration was given for the kind of technologies that they use, are they compatible and so on. Yes, all the three and their technologies are absolutely compatible, and therefore we don't see any disruption in terms of client services. Indicators, the three which I constantly refer to: CET1 ratio, the capital adequacy ratio, and also the net NPA ratio. In this case, of the three, definitely 2 are more than the ideal. The third one, which is closer to the ideal, will get closer once the consolidation happens, and we shall give special attention even to that. So that explains the third that we've done. Fourth one is important: Indian Bank with Allahabad Bank. This will become the 7th largest public sector bank with business of about 8.08 lakh crores, which is approximately 1.9 times Indian Bank size. Nationwide presence with strong networks both in the south and in the north and also in the east. So you get a wonderful coverage of all the three areas. Doubling of business size. Major scaling up of reach due to complementary networks. High CASA and lending capacity in consolidated bank. Again, the same CBS platforms between the two, and therefore we expect to have a quick realization of the gains after consolidation. The indicators, very clearly, all three are very clearly above board, very much above the ideal that we have. So it's worth noting that the strength is only getting consolidated of these two banks. So with all this said, we have very clearly explained what are the things that we are doing towards bank and consolidation. I want you to particularly give attention to this particular table. So what is it that you're going to have? The anchor bank will be Punjab National Bank in the first merger that I announced, where the amalgamating banks are Oriental Bank of Commerce, United Bank of India. Business size is 17.94 lakhs. PSB rank by size would be second, and the particular computer networking, fintech networking is Finacle. Similar, Canara Bank and Syndicate Bank coming together gives us a bank size of 15.2 lakh crores, becoming the 4th largest. iFlex is the system that they use. Union Bank of India together with Andhra Bank and Corporation Bank will become the 5th largest of the banks, public sector banks, with 14.59 lakh crores for their business size. Then Indian Bank with Allahabad Bank reaches the business size of 8.08 lakh crores, will be the 7th largest bank. So we had already talked about SBI amalgamated earlier, Bank of Baroda amalgamated earlier. So the consolidated PSBs for strong national presence and global reach, one of the objectives with which we went about this consolidation plan. So 82% of all PSB business will be with these banks. 56% of all commercial bank business will be with them. We shall continue with two banks which will have national presence. And they are Bank of India with 9.3 lakh crores of business size. Central Bank of India, 4.68 lakh crores, will continue as Central Bank of India. So two of those banks continue to be with national presence, and they continue to flourish in those. With all our support, we'll extend everything else. To strengthen the regional presence, some of these banks continue to have their dominance in regional areas, and they shall continue to be where they are. Indian Overseas Bank will continue their presence largely in South with 3.75 lakh crores. UCO Bank, with their presence in the East, will continue with 3.17 lakh crores presence. Bank of Maharashtra in the West will continue as it is with 2.34 lakh crores as their business. And Punjab and Sindh Bank in the North, particularly in Punjab area, will continue with 1.71 lakh crores as their presence is very solid. Now, this is something which is a tally which you need to notice. In 2017, when there were 27 public sector banks, today, after today's announcement, this comes down to 12 only. So 12 solidly present, well consolidated, energized, adequately capital endowed banks will now operate to target our 5 trillion economy and give the necessary support for the banking facilities which is so required by our customers today. All right, now have we just thought of these consolidation without giving the necessary energy to the banks? Governance reforms is what all of us have been talking about for quite a long time. Did we do anything on it? Are we doing in trickles? Here I'm happy to tell you that we've taken adequate care to consult and take everybody on board much before we are coming out with the announcement on governance reforms in banks. These, I think, as much important as the consolidation announcement itself are, today the governance reforms that we are announcing now before you are of great significance to make these banks run professionally. And therefore, I draw your attention to the various governance reforms that we are announcing along with this consolidation. To make management accountable to board committee of nationalized banks to apprise performance of GM, general manager and above, inclusive of MD, will happen. So now it won't be just one person deciding on the appraisal of top officials. It shall be management which shall take these appraisals forward. So it won't be left to the hand of one person. And to make span of control manageable in large PSBs, post-consolidation, that is post today's announcement, boards will be given flexibility to introduce CGM level as per business needs. So we shall allow them to form or take a call on introducing a CGM in their respective banks. And also to recruit, this is very important. Just only State Bank of India probably very recently had this, but to recruit Chief Risk Officer from the market at market-linked compensations. At market-linked compensation, but not on salaries decided by government. You will have specialized risk officers from the market deciding on what the bank's spread of its activity will be, and they will be adequately empowered to take a call on the decisions of the bank. And then to enable a succession planning, boards to decide on a system of individual development plans for all senior executive positions. What would this mean? It would mean that for each of the senior level position, there will be a set of 2 or 3 people who will also be built so that they get expertise in that area and be ready to, if there is a need, be able to be take that position on. Of course, there will be yet another process of recruitment and selection, but at least we will be building capacity so that you have greater number of people who are with specialized skills and experience. So we are at this time itself giving enough material and freedom for them to have a succession planning within banks' boards. To ensure sufficient tenure, boards given flexibility to prescribe residual service of 2 years of appointment of GM and above. So nobody gets appointed for just a month or two because they are senior most, but they will, once appointed, be there at least for 2 years so that there's a sense of continuity, and by the time they get to doing something, they're not going to go away. So these are some of the serious governance reforms that we want to bring in. In again bringing another set of reforms, we want to make sure that the bank's board committee system itself gets strengthened. So flexibility is being given to boards of large public sector banks to enhance sitting fees for non-official directors. They were being paid pittance. So many of these people did not even have an interest being in bank boards as official, non-official directors. Now the boards will be given the flexibility to get the best in the field and give them the pay that they need for sittings. For better board committee functioning, boards given mandate to reduce or to rationalize board committees. In some cases there are very many, in some there aren't as many. So they will be given the complete power to decide what the size should be ideally for them. And for risk management committee, we are giving the mandate to fix accountability, which is what is the main problem. For compliance of risk appetite framework, that is where we are also getting somebody from the market with adequate remuneration, and they will be given enough veto power to take a decision or to veto a decision from being taken. Longer term for directors on management committee boards, because most often, as I said earlier, they spend a short period. By the time they can effectively understand and do something, they're gone. So we are giving them longer term. The last point there about the strengthening of the board system, board committee system, is the management committee of the board loan sanction thresholds have been enhanced by up to 100%. So if they had an X amount this time, they would be having 2X. To enable focused attention to higher value loan proposals. So this gives them the additional strength and power to go ahead with higher value loans. So further on the governance reforms, non-official directors' effectiveness is something which all of us have been questioning, discussing. We're trying to bring in some strength there. So the non-official directors' functions will have to be now comparable, analogous to the independent directors. So that's something which is happening now. Boards are given mandate for training of directors, both for the induction and for specialized purposes. Boards are given mandate again to evaluate the NOD, non-official directors' performance annually on a peer review basis. Thorough professionalization is what we are aiming at by doing these. The next is about leadership development in banks. Executive directors' strength in larger banks are raised to 4 for better functioning, focus, and also thrust on technology. Particularly on technology, we would ensure that there is an executive director who completely focuses on that, because the cyber security risks which banks face is also something which leadership should be consciously seized of. Creation of leadership pipeline under the BBB, the Bank Bureau Leadership Development Program, is also being introduced. So with all this, the public sector bank and their drive, we are going through wide-ranging reforms. Financially stronger PSBs are the ones which we are aiming at. Remember, please recall that in the budget we had made a provision of 70,000 crores. Well-provisioned PSBs, 14 already in profit. We'd like all of them to do well. Then technology-driven banking is what is the emphasis on today. scale and synergy will be acquired because of the consolidation that we've done today, and governance is also getting strengthened, professionalized, and independence given to them to function. Now, if all this is what we have, of the 70,000 crores that we've given, I want a certainty out there for the consolidation. Have we just done the consolidation and left them free? No. We are giving them enough capital reserves with which they can be confidently functioning without worrying. And I underline here, even as we announce all the consolidation, we have given enough instructions for the banks at the branch level to be sure that that which we had announced last Friday, in terms of liquidity, in terms of working with NBFCs, in terms of making sure that the credit availability in the market, all this will not suffer. On the contrary, we would want at the branch level enough dedicated staff to attend to that, and not entirely all the staff to be looking after the consolidation program itself. So that has been very clearly instructed to the banks. We expect them to dedicate their staff to make sure last Friday's announcement as regards liquidity, availability of credit, reaching out to customers, reaching out to NBFCs, all happen without any disruption. So those dedicated to take care of smoothing out these consolidation will be completely dedicated for this purpose without having that suffer. So a rough, absolutely approximated number of what we would like to infuse with these banks. Punjab National Bank will get something around 16,000 crores. I just want one rider, one clause to be put here. These are approximate amounts. We will obviously tailor-make them according to the banks and the requirement, which will be discussed with the banks at that level. But here we are just giving you a broad indicator. Don't hold us on to this amount to the last digit. So Union Bank of India would get 11,700. Bank of Baroda will get 7,000. Although that was an earlier tranche of consolidation, we still support them. Canara Bank gets 6,500. Approximately all of them. Indian Bank 2,500. Now, does that mean we forget those which are existing in the regions? Not at all. Indian Overseas Bank, we think about 3,800 crores. Central Bank of India, 3,300 crores. UCO Bank, 2,100 crores. And United Bank of India, 1,600 crores. And Punjab and Sindh Bank, 750 crores. Now, these are not to take care of just the consolidation related work, most of which is already provided for. This is aimed at growth. This is aimed at reaching out to the market, reaching out to the customers for growth purposes. So these are amounts which are being given and provided to these banks which are getting consolidated to aim at growth and growth only. So consolidation is not being enabled through this, but these are growth driven. So I think we've given you a broad picture of what we wanted to announce today. We want strong financial system, and I suppose now I'll leave it to you all to.
Yes, so we'll take a few questions now.
Just 1 minute. Let him coordinate.
Just.
Let him coordinate. 1 minute.
Just wait. We'll come to you one by one. Okay, you can.
Baroda.
Yes, that's what I said. Even though it is already merged, this is growth के लिए देने वाले पैसा है. Consolidation basis नहीं है.
Let's go systematically. Yes, you can start. You'll be compensated.
Yeah, okay, fine. No problem. We are from the same organization. Sapna Das